And we as technologists have a bias towards believing that technology can solve all the world's problems. But more often than not, most of the innovations that have had the most amount of fiscal impact in the world have been better advertising or a better CRM. Those things are all very helpful, but they've changed the world economically, but not necessarily in the ways that I think we as technologists believe are as profound as they really are. You know, I think a lot of technologists are saying, let's disintermediate humans from the world of work and let's just have a network of like microbots just going and doing everyone's job. My opinion is good luck to you. I think it's going to be really hard to disintermediate the human being from the role entirely, not least because AI is really just another expression of our desire to be able to do more, achieve more, just another piece of technology. You think about the spreadsheet, which was another piece of technology that arrived at some point, or GPS. Both of those things have taken over. You talked about the atrophy of the way we think. GPS is a fantastic example. I no longer can drive to the shops without running a GPS system. GPS is a great expression of that. But the thing that hasn't changed about GPS is knowing where you want to go and why you want to go there. All it really does is tell you how to get there. And so we as technologists build a wonderful how to get there all the time. We're brilliant at that. But we haven't yet really got good at the why and the who and the what. So a lot of that stuff is stuff that I think, we sort of only really look at that one sphere of reality. And so the reason why I think, understanding how to lead better is so important, understanding how to be a better human at work is so important, understanding how to be a performant leader is important, is because I think we will get flatter organizations. People will be asked to do more with less. But I don't see a world where it suddenly becomes, hey, I've incorporated my company in, Delaware, and all of a sudden I've hired these 16 robots to go and do the job, and there's no humans involved and everything. We're just printing money. I can't see that world, honestly. I can see a world where you can do more with less people, but I think that's a different world to the one that a lot of technologists suddenly think is going to arrive.
That's right. That's right. You've been very good point on, always have a human in the loop. We call them in our industry, human in the loop. But where does the human fit? I think that's the whole struggle right now is you've got an entire process, consider any process as a conveyor belt process type. And the struggle is because we still need a human and human is well needed in any process, you still need to figure out a way where to exactly scientifically inject the human in the process. And the debate is that I always hear is if I inject them too early, I'm spending too much. If I inject them too late, I'm losing too much. So that sweet spot where to exactly put the human in the loop in the entire process is still trying to be figured out. And because of the fluidity of the processes and no process is equal to another, makes it a lot more challenging.
Yeah, certainly at the moment you need human judgment to be able to make those kinds of choices.
100%.
Right? Because they come down to things that I think, if we continue to use AI to the extent which I think we both anticipate we will see a merging into the middle. Everything seems to move into the median. If you get an LLM to write email for you, it writes a perfectly serviceable email, but it doesn't write anything that's particularly fantastic. It just writes something that works. And as we continue to move to the middle, it's going to demand of us that we think more about taste and judgment and our contextual knowledge of how these things impact people. And those are the kinds of things where I believe AI is going to continue to struggle, because taste, for example, or the judgment about where you put the human in the loop and how you choose to mechanize the process to be able to create the most amount of value for people is a question of not just experience, but also just your judgment as an individual. And I think that's the area where we're going to see more pressure around skills. I think people are going to need to continue to develop things like their own individual taste to differentiate themselves from a writing point of view, from a design point of view, just generally. So I think to your point that there are areas where we need people, and we'll continue to for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.